Hey guys, my name is Matteo, and welcome to an episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formats out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today is, are you disappointed that there are so many automatic weapons in Battlefield 1? I have heard this come up a lot lately because it's a completely valid criticism. A lot of gamers are wondering, why did DICE decide to create a World War I game if they aren't going to be true to the time period? Yeah, there were a couple of automatic weapons that were created. Some were prototypes, we had light machine guns, there were some submachine guns, but in general, if you were boots on the ground, you were in infantry, you were using a bolt-action rifle because that was just the technology that we had available to us back then. And so I can absolutely see why people were a little disappointed when they revealed the multiplayer gameplay when everyone was running around with submachine guns and LMGs. That said though, we also have to remember what type of game DICE is trying to create here. Battlefield has never been known for its ultra realism. Sure, if you compare it to other shooters out there like Call of Duty or Overwatch, it's on a grander scale and it's got more realistic elements in it, but it's never been ARMA, it's never been a simulator, and DICE has never claimed that they've gone for that ultra realistic gameplay. And so with that in mind, I think the reason why DICE decided to add in these automatic SMGs and light machine guns is that they just simply wanted to add in more weapon variety. Can you imagine if the next big Battlefield game only had basically designated marksman rifles and bolt action rifles? Sure, it'd be fun for maybe the hardcore crowd, they'd get a kick out of it, but that probably would get fairly stale for a vast majority of people that are looking for a lot of variety in their first-person shooters. There's only so many ways you can come up with a new feeling bolt-action rifle. This is actually a problem that we ran into with Battlefield 4. You basically find the one rifle that works for you, and you stick with that every single time that you play as a recon class. You may deviate here and there if you're looking for something slightly different, maybe it's just not clicking for you that day, but you don't get the vast majority of customization options when you compare that to the assault class. You pick one assault over the other, it feels completely different. You don't really get that with the bolt action rifle. DICE has even come out and admitted the reason why we didn't get any more bolt action rifles with like the free weapon crate DLC that happened at the end of Battlefield 4 was because there really wasn't any other way for them to add a new one in that was going to be able to differentiate itself from all of the others. And so now imagine an entire Battlefield game that's known for its variety, that's known for its customization and all-out crazy warfare, and only having basically bolt-action rifles and semi-automatic weapons to choose from. I really feel like that is the main reason why DICE decided to go down this path. You now might be asking the question, well then why the hell did they decide to create a World War I game if they aren't gonna be authentic? That's a very good question, and the reason why I think a lot of people were surprised, me included, why they decided to create a World War I Battlefield. DICE has put themselves in a bit of a sticky situation with this whole authenticity argument because they are being authentic, but they're also not being authentic. Yes, these weapons were present during this time period, but not a lot of people were using them. Either they were a prototype, they were still in development, either it was at the tail end of the war, so no one really used them, or the people that had access to them, they were so expensive and so few were made that only a couple of them actually saw field use. So yeah, they're authentic, but it's not authentic that everyone on the battlefield will be running around with submachine guns like we saw in Battlefield 1. And so I think we just have to remember at the end of the day that this is a video game. DICE has said on numerous occasions that while they want Battlefield 1 to feel authentic, it's not going to be at the expense of enjoyable combat and gameplay. And so while I know a lot of people out there are disappointed that there isn't going to be more of a focus on using bolt action rifles, and who knows, maybe they'll add in a hardcore game mode that allows for more of that type of playstyle. I'm really crossing my fingers that that is the case. Hopefully you can understand why DICE decided to add in more automatic weapons than we were probably expecting. The next question comes from a lot of you. I get this question all the time, and that is, what are my thoughts on adding in a corner shot gadget or a weapon in a Rainbow Six Siege? Now, while I fully understand this technology is real and really cool when you think about it, the way it works is that you have essentially an assault rifle or some sort of weapon that can turn around a corner shot, and it has a camera at the end of the barrel so that you can see what's around it, and then you can look at your screen and take out any enemies that are around the bend without exposing yourself. It's absolutely incredible. If I was in a situation like this and I had this gadget available, I would probably use it every single time. Of course I'm not gonna peek my head out and let the enemy shoot at my face. I don't wanna die, I wanna be around the safety of a corner. But in a video game, I don't know if that would lend itself to the most enjoyable combat. This is Rainbow Six Siege that we're talking about. It's a first-person shooter, and like every other first-person shooter, what makes it fun and enjoyable is outplaying the enemy, either through tactics, by flanking them and catching them by surprise, or just having the better skill with your weapon and taking them out that way. You don't really get that with a corner shotgun. People are already complaining about Blackbeard and not being able to kill him because of his shield outside of windows. Now imagine someone who doesn't even need to expose any part of their body. They can just kind of thrust this gun around a corner really fast and then immediately take you out. Can you imagine the amount of frustration that would create? I wouldn't want to fight against that. That would be a nightmare. And so while maybe they could balance it out by making this a gadget that isn't really all that powerful, maybe it only has a couple of rounds, maybe it doesn't do a lot of damage and can't one-shot the enemy, but at the end of the day, do we really want to be fighting people that we can't see because they're around a corner in the safety of a room? Like, I just don't think that's all that appealing. And so while I realize that it's absolutely realistic, this is something that you may see in a SWAT situation, from a gameplay standpoint, I do not want this in Rainbow Six Siege. The next question comes from Suki Blue, and it is, do you think that Bipods will actually be viable in Battlefield 1? Well, as long as DICE doesn't change things dramatically from now until the release of the game, absolutely. If you were playing as the support kit, for example, and you're not taking advantage of the bipod, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage. If someone's at a medium distance and you're using one of those heavy weapons, you're gonna have a hard time getting any of your bullets to land where you want them to because of the excessive amount of bullet spread. As soon as you bipod it up, though, I don't want to go as far to say that it is laser beam-like accurate. It's still got a fair amount of deviation to it, but you can take people out at a medium to long range with no problem whatsoever. It really seems like DICE is trying to put more of an emphasis, not only just the support class, to really hunker down and support your enemy, be that light machine gun, get in there and just provide supportive fire, but also just to make the bipods in general way more appealing. Another reason why I like them, and I have a feeling a lot more people are going to use this gadget, is that they're a hell of a lot easier to use. In Battlefield 4, every single time you want to place this down, not only do you have to be on a surface that allows it, but you also have to press a button and then go through a lengthy animation. That's not the case in Battlefield 1. Basically, all you have to do is go prone, and as long as the surface allows it, you're going to get the benefit of the bipod. You walk up to a low ledge, you aim down sight, you're once again going to get the aim down sight accuracy as if you had a bipod. No animation, no lengthy thing that you have to go through, you're just going to get the amazing accuracy of this attachment. The one small critique that I have for it is that I think that DICE could do a little bit better job of giving you a visual representation of when the bipod is active. Because you don't have to go through an animation anymore, a lot of the times I would go up to a ledge thinking that I was using the bipod, I'd fire a couple of shots, realize my bullets are flying everywhere, and then go crouch, and then I was good to go. And so I don't know if they need to have an icon, I don't know if there needs to be maybe a really, really fast animation, or at least just something that lets you know that you're getting that benefit so that you don't have those awkward moments. And so just in general, I probably wouldn't worry that the bipod is going to be as useless as it normally is in past Battlefield games. Because of the small little adjustments, I have a suspicion that a lot of people are going to be using it. Unless they nerf it into oblivion, it is absolutely going to be a very useful attachment in Battlefield 1. The next question comes from Troy, and it is, in Battlefield 1, can you shoot little holes in walls like you can in Rainbow Six Siege? Sadly, I never experienced that type of destruction. The overall destructibility of the map is really impressive, and it seems like DICE is really trying to take it to the next level. Using a tank and then opening up holes all over the map, and actually just driving through buildings with your tank is something to experience, but I didn't actually have any moments where I shot at a wall and took someone out on the opposite end. I did attempt it. I used light machine guns, I was using a couple of the shotguns to try to open up some of the walls, but nothing was really working. And so unless this is just a different build, because this is the alpha that we're talking about, the build that I played on may not have those destructible elements. The map that I was playing on didn't have any surfaces that could be opened up with a normal primary weapon. DICE has said that this is going to be a feature, though, in Battlefield 1. They mentioned in an article that if you hear a recon in a room next to you, instead of running over to him like you normally would have to, you could just straight shoot through the wall and take him out. We just don't know how widespread it is. If it's like the micro-destruction that we had back in Battlefield 3, where every single building has this type of micro-destruction, that is going to be breathtaking. I won't expect it. I don't imagine it's gonna be every single building, but if that is the case, that is going to be pretty monumental. Really, only time will tell at this point. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.